they're playing good football. I had the bye after we played them. We've won 3 in a row. Jacobs is running well, loves playing well. Those receivers, just like the first time we played them, and they got a whole stable of receivers that all have a little bit something different to them, and all have ability to make plays. Offensive line plays hard, play together. Tight ends making plays, and then this defense, penetrating defense. Kenny Clark, hell of a player, always is every time. Get ready for that guy. You gotta try to handle him. Gary, heck of a player, complete defensive end, run, pass game. The backers, Quay Walker, run and hit, can play in coverage. Secondary's active, 29's got a ton of picks, very headsy, smart, aware, tough player. They got players everywhere, and they're playing good football. So this is going to be a great matchup, back at our place. It's just another one of those, man, division game number 4, get it back at home against a really good opponent. And it's there again, this is why you do it, this is why you coach, why you play. So we're fired up for this.
Carries over from the tape study and the game planning from the first matchup, given just the different conditions of the game?
Yeah, there'll be some carryover. There'll be enough carryover, I'm sure, for them as well as us, things that they did well against us, things we did well, and then you just kind of play off of that, and there'll be wrinkles on both sides, but, the weather affected a couple of things, but I think all in all, the blueprint's there for either team, however you want to look at it. So I don't see anything being too significant, and we get wrinkles every week. We always get something that's tendency breakers now, so we're pretty much expect that.
Beyond what you expect from him or how he can contribute, can you just explain the philosophy that you guys have had with the practice squad? I mean, even go back to the summer at O'Connor's on there, right? Muhammad, David Long recently, the vets that you guys have used to bring along to be a part of this.
Yeah, well, it's we say it every year, but they're an extension of the roster. I mean, they really are part of the roster. It's just a different way to get them on your team because you're going to need them. You're going to have to use them. And I think having the right balance of, vets who've been able to, they've played in this league, man. They understand it. It's not too big for them. Plug and play, serve a role, a purpose. You know exactly what they can do, and you appreciate that about them. I think it's big. And also to have some of younger guys, you do want a balance in there, guys that are plug and play ready, and then some of these young guys you really think maybe have a chance to grow into something more than just a backup, and give them time to develop if you can, and I feel like we've done a pretty good job of that, is keeping that the right balance. But this will be good, getting Jamal here. We'll see if there's a place for him. It just gives us options. It gives us options. Quan, we get him, we got Miles Adams, Jonah Williams. It gives us options now, which is great. And we're going to play the best players. Whoever can help us is going.
Hey yo, the lies so that you never make it. Hopeless, so it seems. Eyes closed, hands open wide to embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win. Like lots of sin was popping in like oxygen when boxes wet. Focus on the mental, never lose like a smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pinto. Choose what I get to, never lose, move on the move, but it's simple. Never give up and we winning it, maybe. We just keep winning, we conquering daily. Envision and pay me, it's never this way. We indigenous, maybe we winning, it's crazy. Your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, this your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, this your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, this your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity.
Yeah. Welcome one, welcome all, ladies and gentlemen, to the Lion Villain Report. I am your host, Russell Wayne, and it is a Monday, and a Monday after not football games for the Lions. We are trying to cope. We are trying to make it through, but we are broadcasting live into the Lions Villain Squad Facebook page right there, where we are approaching 60,000 villains. We need to cross 60,000 so I can make a new graphic so I can say, why have billions when you can have thousands? Yes, we're broadcasting live into the Detroit Lions News Podcast. And that's with Joe Chap and the boys over there with his Twitter account. Thank you to Joe Chat for allowing us to go on to his Twitter, onto JC Sports Network on YouTube, and we're on YouTube as well at Lions Villain Squad right there. And this show is brought to you by the NFL Shop. The NFL Shop, you can use the link right here on Cyber Monday. You can use the link that I'm throwing into the comments right now. It's 50% off today. Go get yourself one of them beautiful Blackberry Jahmyr Gibbs jerseys right there, or whatever else that you want from that site. And you want to be guilty by association? You want to partner with the Villain Squad? Do you own a business and you are a Lion fan in the state of Michigan? You want to partner with the Villain Squad? Call Main Event Mike, 810-620-2167, and find out how you can be guilty by association. It's faith, family, then football right here. We use football. We use football to spend time with our family and make memories. We don't let football use us right here. And it is a beautiful Monday right here. And it's a little different Monday. Usually it's an overreaction type of Monday right here, but there is nothing to overreact to other than the other games that are in the NFL. So I'm going to bring on my cohort, my co-host on Mondays right here. It's Emmy-nominated Main Event Mike. How you doing, Main Event Mike?
Good morning, Russ. Good morning, villains. Did I hear you right, Russ? 50% off?
50% off today. Yeah, I just saw that on there today.
One of these sweet black jerseys, 50% off? What the hell? I should have waited.
I didn't know they were going to do it either. I was like, I jumped on there this morning just to check the stats on it, and I'm like, oh, wow, that's where the link's taken. Yeah, it's right on there. It tells you what code it is. I don't know what code you put in, but use the link in the comments for that. Support the villain. That's what you want to do. But the best way they can support is these live people that are here with us in the morning, like Fred. What's going on, Fred? We can count on Fred. We can count on Dwayne Keene. And then we can always count on Dwayne to have one of these badass statements right here. Let's go. Detroit Lions, #1 pride, kings of the NFC North Division champion title, all grit, never back down, 11-1, make it 12-1. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Crazy.
Good morning, Davey. We got more Fred. I think I just skipped over somebody. Henry Gray was sneaking right in there. There we go. No Fred, no Broski sightings. I think Fred's in here, but Broski, yeah, he's picking his spots, I guess. Good morning to Jay Smooth. It's War Week, right? I had to if you're into WWE like I'm into WWE, this week was Wargames, and Wargames was awesome on Saturday night. And in light of that, and we wanted to thematically throw that in here for what we have going on over the next 5 weeks. That's going to be kind of like the main event of what we're doing on here today after we say hello to everybody. Am I missing it? Oh, Smoking Jeremy B's up in the house. Hello, Dale. Hi, Lions sucks. All right, man. Must be a Packer fan that's sick of losing to us. What's up, Kim? Good day to you. How do you like Ryan Day now, Russell? I never liked Ryan Day, and Mike can even point to that. I'm not a big fan of somebody that that looks like that at the end of the game. You know, the Lions are the exact opposite of what Ryan Day is. When the Lions have a really bad penalty called on them that puts the opposing team on the 25-yard line, that Lions team, they shore up, and that's when they start playing their best football, and they're the most aware at that point, forcing a penalty right into a sack, causing confusion, end the game. Ryan Day, on the other hand, he's the opposite of that. I mean, I could just see him all shaking on the inside at the end of that game. You know, I don't know what to do. A fight breaks out at the end. He's just looking at it like somebody watching a plane crash. What are you going to do about it? It's like, man, it's here. It's here. The Buckeyes have lost 4 games in 3 years, and 3 of them were to the Michigan Wolverines. It's all right here. None of those kids that are on the Ohio State Buckeyes know what it's like to beat the Michigan Wolverines, and that's huge for an 18-year-old kid. This isn't some mentally strong man that's been in the NFL that's, you know, tried and true, overcame everything. Mike, you're dying. What do you want to comment on that?
Nothing, Russ. I was prepared to wear Ohio State gear this year because I thought for sure we were going to get beat down. What an exciting game. Went into the Horseshoe and won it with a 6-5 team against the number 2 team in the country. Just huge for Michigan. Go Blue. Exciting game, even though there wasn't a lot of points in it. It was a double chin strap game. They were smacking the hell out of each other. Just great day to be a Michigan fan and a Lions fan.
Now, can you imagine being a coach that's only lost 1 game outside of the Michigan Wolverines being in danger of being fired from his job?
Sure, I'll harken you back to a name you haven't heard in a while, John Cooper. He was the coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes, a perennial powerhouse team that could not beat Michigan, and he was sent packing and never returned to big-time Division I football again after that. So getting by the Wolverines is job 1 when you're in Columbus, and getting past the Buckeyes is job 1 when you're in Ann Arbor. In fact, even though we're in a rebuilding whatever, so many players went to the NFL, this salvages the Michigan season just by beating this team, and that is a beautiful thing about college football.
Yep, and what a great rivalry that is. That rivalry supersedes the fact that they are probably going to go to the playoffs within the 12 team, and they're probably going to maybe even make some noise in the playoffs, but he may still get fired. They could go to the national championship game. I think the only thing that might even save his job is winning the national championship. Ryan Day probably knows that too, that he's got a clean house going to that tournament with a low seed, or I guess a high seed, and try to beat some of the top teams and run a tournament. He could win the national championship and may still get fired. I can't beat Michigan.
I'm a little jaded about it, though. You know, obviously, I want Ohio to lose to anyone that they play as a Michigan fan, obviously. But I can't stomach Oregon coming into the Big Ten in their first year and winning the title. I'm going to be rooting for Penn State this weekend for sure. Based on that alone, I don't think I've ever rooted for Penn State, but I'm going to root for them to upset Oregon because I just can't stomach them coming in and winning the Big Ten in their first year after we talked all that trash about the Pac-12 and all the teams coming into the Big Ten. You know, I'm not saying I wanted Ohio State to win, but boy, this sure makes their road a lot tougher. And I would have, hard to say, I'd rather see them win the Big Ten than to see Oregon win it in their first year. I'm sorry.
So, I mean, I don't know what you have planned on me wearing Michigan wise. I don't know when we're going to officially do that thing, but I do have to pay up. It is that's the thing that we do. We honor our bets right here, even though we kind of forgot about the game because the Lions have been so exciting, and it just kind of, whoa, Whoa, I turned it on and I'm like, oh, I'm watching the Michigan Ohio State game. I kind of lost track of college football this year because the Lions have been so damn good. And we made a couple moves, Mike, to transition to where we got to get to. One that I really, I mean, all of them are intriguing to me. First, you got Quan Alexander. And first of all, kudos to Brad Holmes for adding talent, and having a couple tricks up his sleeve. Like, probably have a couple of these guys on speed dial being like, look, man, we might get into some injury stuff. We might be able to have you jump onto the team right here. And Quan Alexander, to me, is the cream of this crop right here when I really look at that, because he has all of that experience with Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn from when they were in New Orleans together. He was a very good player and we don't need him to come in and be the savior. We just need him to come in, take meaningful snaps, maybe part some veteran leadership type of things down to the young players like Jack Campbell, So what do you think of those first two signings right there? Jonah Williams and Quan Alexander, Mike?
Well, Quan Alexander, when he was in his prime, the one thing you could always say about him, violent. He was a violent player. He played with a violent style. He always had a high motor. And this is a guy, like you said, Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn know him well from his time in New Orleans. And I think he definitely fits their style of play. Now, on the back end of his career, how effective will he be? We saw Bruce Irvin last year come in to destroy that bum Derek Carr in one game, and then he was gone. We've never seen him again. These are depth pieces. Let's face it, man, the Lions are a mash unit on defense, and they are reaching. They scoured all of the practice squads, and they plucked the guys that they think can help them, that fit what they do. So, yeah, Quan Alexander 3-4 years ago, this would be huge. Now, I'm not so sure if they even can get on the field. Hey, even if they don't, it's depth. And Dan Campbell, we heard it at the beginning of this program in his press conference. It gives us choices. It gives us options, right? Jonah Williams, I don't know that much about him, but he's a body. He's got a pulse, and he's on the defensive line. That's better than what we've got right now sitting on the bench, which is no one. Decimated, and not only decimated by injuries. All teams are dealing with injuries, but when a team suffers multiple injuries at the same position, that's when it gets tricky, and that's when you've got to get your GM, get a fire lid under him, go out and get someone. Well, Brad Holmes has done that. 4 players, Quan Alexander and Jonah Williams, just the first 2.
But you know what I love about these type of signings, and now we're going to get into these ones right here, and I'll make this comment on it. They also add Jamal Adams with one too many A's. I forgot to take that. I know I did that wrong. Whatever. And then Miles Adams. We got the Adams brothers here, so he brings in 4 players. But what I really like about what Brad Holmes does, it's like our front line right now, like everybody can play. Right. So everybody that went through training camp and they know on there, it's like you ask Ben Neiman, Nowowski, whatever linebackers that we need, Muhammad to come in on DN, even the practice squad guys were good. So now you need another layer of defense there. We obviously have the coaching and the schematic thing in place. So you bring in these bodies. These guys ain't even going to play this week. Maybe you might get one of these guys in there on the roster because you might have to have some of them on game day because of the roster moves. But they're going to get these guys acclimated. It's not like Jamal Adams going to go out there. Oh, wow, look, he's out there starting. It's like we got 2 safeties already. We don't need you to start, Jamal. We don't need you to start Miles Adams or we got Jack Campbell. We got Neiman and Nowowski. We don't need you, Quan, to come in and start. We need you to learn the defense over the next 3 weeks so you can provide depth to this team.
And one thing, Russ, is there's actually a 5th player that's being reported on social media this morning that Brad Holmes has signed a 5th player this morning. I don't know if it's true. I have not been able to confirm it yet, but it is safety Kavion Merriweather, who played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So that with Jamal Adams, that'd be 2 safeties, 2 D linemen, and a linebacker that he brings in, the 5 players. So I know that Jeremy touched on a couple of these things in the comment, but if I were to skip everything that Jeremy puts in the comments, we wouldn't have a show. So definitely, I think I love this call out from Jeremy, because I said I wasn't real familiar with Jonah Williams. Read this one off, Russ. Jonah Williams played 4 seasons. He played every game last year for the Rams. Run stuffer who can collapse the pocket. He's had 2.5 sacks in 48 games in rotational play. Thank you for that information, Jeremy, and enlightening me. So yeah, 5 players now rumored. I have not been able to confirm. Kavion Mayweather, another safety, and I love the Jamal Adams signing, and I'll tell you why. Because he can hold down the back end. Even at his age, he's still going to be able to hold down the back end along with Kirby Joseph. That's going to allow Brian Branch to still be on the field in a hybrid safety linebacker role, where Brian Branch can play close to the line of scrimmage. He can play freely, almost like that star position that he played at Alabama. I think this is a good move. Jamal Adams, of these 5 signings, I definitely like Jamal Adams the best, because we're going to be able to mitigate some of these injuries at linebacker by using Brian Branch and some of the safety depth that we have.
Yeah, it is depth. It is depth, and we pride ourselves on that next man up mentality, but we also don't just hand jobs out to people. So, if I've ever been cautioned, I've been excited about some players before. And especially like when Za'Darius got here, let's get him in here. And, Jeremy comes into the comments on that show and says, yeah, he probably won't even play in the first game. I'm like, whatever, dude, we got the Za'Darius Smith. And then it's like the next day it's like, Za'Darius Smith out for the game. They're going to have him out. And even though it was like a personal reason things, it's like, they don't just bring these guys in and go, there's the fire. Like, they're not going to have to do that. They just need to come in and learn the terminology. It's like Dan Campbell said, and get ready. I think that Jamal Adams will come in and, he'll play 12 snaps, and they'll put him in a position to where those 12 snaps, he could do something great. It's going to be with the top of his skill set, but they're not just going to come in and give him like 60 snaps. We go over the PFF, and we did PFF Saturday this week, and we will do PFF Saturday again this week since we do have the Thursday game. So everything's all weird and of sorts because of this gauntlet thing that's been going on the last 13 days, where you got Colts, Bears, Packers, and you pack them in there. Pun intended. And here we are about ready to play a very, very serious game. But before we get into the war games, we're going to let Mike have the floor right here. And you got some tidbits. We're going to call this the main event, Mike Tidbits. Mike, you ready for some tidbits?
I'm ready, brother.
All right.
Just a quick look back at the Thursday game, the Thanksgiving game against the Lions, who get off the schneid after not winning on Thanksgiving from 2016. I was really mad. I was mad at Jameson Williams for throwing that ball and hitting Tyreek Stevenson in the face, even though it made me laugh. And I'm sure it made you laugh a little bit. He's jabbering, and he gets whapped in the face with the ball. Love that. But I was mad at him for that lapse of judgment that cost him a 15-yard penalty. However, we see now afterwards the reverse angle. Tyreek Stevenson tripped him and actually threw a swipe at him as he went by. Dirty ass bullshit. Now I'm glad he got popped in the mouth. Now I think that 15 yards was way worth it. You tripped him. And hopefully the league will look at that. Today is the day fines come out. So we will see tomorrow is the day that they levy fines against players for the weekend. So we will see if Jameson Williams will receive a fine from the NFL for throwing that ball. Hopefully they take into account that he was tripped. He also didn't blast him in the face with the ball. He just flipped it to him. Sorry your reflexes were so slow that you couldn't catch that ball or stop it from hitting your face. Maybe that's why you were on the sidelines on a third down, Tyreek Stevenson. Thank you very much. So that's just one little thing that grinded my gears this week. One thing that I did like, though, is that the Detroit Lions hold another team under 100 yards rushing. Even though Caleb Williams had 39, they held the Bears to only 78 yards rushing. Even with all the injuries, DJ Reader, Aleem McNeil, these guys are elite defensive linemen. To stuff the run like that and week over week over week, they stop running backs and they stop the ground game of the opposing team to keep them under 100 yards. Only 78 this time for the Bears. On the flip side of that, the Lions still able to run the ball. Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery combining for 194 yards. Sonic and Knuckles, baby. These guys are elite. We have two elite backs. We're able to run the ball, and we're able to stop the run, something that we talk about all the time, Russell, that's the recipe for winning football when you play complementary football and you can stop the run and you can run the ball. So looking good at 11-1. However, another week goes by that the Lions win and the Packers and the Vikings win also. We just can't gain any ground in this division because the other teams are just good. You've got Green Bay sitting at 9-3 and Minnesota sitting at 10-2. The Vikings at 10-2 in week 13. Who'd have thunk it? Not me, that's for sure. Not Russell Wayne, I can promise you that. We predicted the Vikings to finish below the Bears, but it's this guy. Darnold.
You know who thunk it? Donald Schwarzenegger thunk it. Donald Schwarzenegger thunk it. You needed to take my hand from the beginning. You did not believe in Sam Darnold. Now you believe in Sam Darnold. He will bring you back from the fires. In the Vikings, we will sound the horns. And we will throw touchdown passes to Justin Jefferson. Take my hand.
We got a few other tidbits, too, we are going to go over tonight on the Main Event Football Show. That's at 7 p.m. Eastern time right here on the Villain Squad Network. Be sure to tune in 7 p.m. Eastern time tonight for the Main Event Football Show. We're going to go in-depth on some of these topics that we're talking about today. But like I said, Minnesota sitting at 10-2, Green Bay at 9-3, Lions and Chiefs in the AFC and NFC respectively, 11-1. But look at the two seeds right now if it were to end. You've got Buffalo at 10-2 and the Philadelphia Eagles at 10-2. Both very scary teams. These teams seem to be on a collision course with each other. The Final Four very well could be Detroit, Philadelphia, Buffalo, and Kansas City. That's the way the records show. Now, the two number one seeds never make it to the Super Bowl. I think they did last year. Right? Last year they did was the first time ever. No, I take that back. The Chiefs were not the number one seed. The Ravens were. The one seeds never make the Super Bowl. Rarely. Ravens getting beat by the Eagles. What an impressive win on the road by the Philadelphia Eagles. Folks, we told you 3 weeks ago, Russ? We told you this team is for real. Mm-hmm. Don't sell them short. They've won 7-8 ball games in a row now. They are on a roll. Up and down the roster, they are loaded. And let me tell you the difference. Vic Fangio, defensive coordinator, coming over from the Miami Dolphins, coming home to retire in Philadelphia. I predicted this at the beginning of the season, that what a huge difference he will make. The Eagles will be trouble this year. And now we see that coming to fruition. So everybody look out for the Eagles. We really thought that this game against Baltimore was going to be a litmus test for them, and they passed with flying colors. Saquon Barkley's a man on a mission, and it's going to be very, very interesting the last 5 weeks of the season. Tonight on the main event, we're going to break down the schedules of the remaining teams in the NFC North and try to make some sense of it. What an exciting stretch run it's going to be. We'll do that tonight at 7 p.m. And we'll also predict the game, Russ. We'll predict the game that's tonight. The Cleveland Browns at the Denver Broncos. Denver's -5.5. We will make our picks. In case you don't know, every Thursday we do predictions right here on this show. Thursday mornings at 10, we do Prediction Thursday. And I will give you a little sneak peek. We both did pretty good, Russ. You picked 10 out of 15. I also picked 10 out of 15. So, and we had 7 games that we picked the opposite. So it really shook itself out to come out to a tie. And for the 3rd week in a row, it will come down to the Monday night game to break the tie to see who wins this week. And that'll be at 7:00 tonight. We're going to make those picks to try to break the tie.
And we already have 10.
10 and
we
5.
already have 10.
Both of us have 10. We
right.
and
That's pretty good.
there were a couple of games we could have had 12, but we lost on the point spread. We did pick the right teams, but we lost on the point spread on a couple of these games.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'd have both had 12.
Lions.
Lions were 1 for you. Yes.
Yep. And I actually went against what I was being a homer, more or less. Even though I picked it and it goes against my score, everybody knows that week. Like I gave you the right, I gave you the right information during the week, even though I choked. I choked on the pick. I decided to be a homer and go, yeah, they'll cover it. And I knew in the back of my mind it was a rivalry game. In the back of my mind, they were going, no, don't do it. And it was whispering to me, and I didn't listen to it. But war games. Why would I say something about war games right here? And it does allude to, and I'm going to be careful with this, and we might go into the as a matter of fact, we will end up going into the rest of that Dan Campbell press conference right there. And but these schedules, when it comes to like the Lions end of the schedule, and I call this war games, it isn't just that you got the Packers, you know, they're sitting there and actually have the easiest of the 3 schedules, but they're at the worst record at 9-3. And so the Packers are really, really good at 9-3. And then the Vikings, with the rest of their schedule, they're sitting there at 10-2. But what's the common denominator with all 3 of these schedules? Especially when you're talking about the battle for the NFC North. This NFC North title, this is so crazy because when I look at these games, and you're going to go into detail on these games tonight, but just looking at these games, you could see the Bears just playing spoiler. Like when it comes to, they're out of it for like the NFC North title or anything like that, but they could definitely play spoiler because guess what? They're on all 3 of these schedules. So the Bears are just the spoiler team right there. And don't overlook those guys because they will beat you. They almost did beat all 3 of us right here. And then the Atlanta Falcons, that's one of those surging teams that's trying to go from good to the, you know, the better level teams. Division leading Seattle Seahawks. And then they got to play all 3 of the NFC North teams. They could lose all 5 of those games. The Lions, look at these games. Look at these games. The Bills, all 3 of the guys in the NFC North, and the Niners on the road, they could lose all 5 of those games.
Mm-hmm.
The Packers.
Let's point one thing out here, though. Minnesota and Detroit gets 3 of the 5 at home, whereas the Packers got to play 3 of the 5 on the road. I don't think that can be understated. I mean, that's going to be huge. Either way,
but they get the Saints
playoffs.
But the Packers, in all fairness, they get the Saints in there. So it's like they could lose all 5 of those games. But when I look at the Packers schedule, I say you're going to win that Saints game, but you could lose the other 4. I don't have any faith in the Saints. You're not all of a sudden jump on the Saints just because Derek Carr's down. You're not all of a sudden a Saints fan, are you?
I mean, no, they lost to the Rams yesterday by a touchdown.
Right. So the Packers should win that game.
But if you remember last year when the Packers played the Saints, it took 4th quarter heroics from Jordan Love to pull the game out. This time, the Packers will get New Orleans at home. So yeah, going to be big. They do have to travel to Seattle after playing the Lions. They'll get a nice long rest, though, by virtue of the Lions and Packers playing on a Thursday. And that's another thing. I love that the Packers and Lions both played on Thanksgiving, and then they got to both come back on Thursday the next week. Neither has a long week, neither has a short week. It's going to be an epic game on Thursday Night Football in Ford Field. That place is going to be electric as the Evil Empire comes in and the Lions try to go 12-1.
Yeah, that game is so like pivotal for everything that's going on here. But here's the thing, it's like that they're trying to not get swept. It's a little bit different. Like, I'm looking at this game and it's like, the Lions are a better team. You can see it as of right now. The Lions are a better team. And when they're playing on all cylinders like the Philadelphia Eagles with all of that talent, it's like when those teams are on with the offensive and defensive lines and they're on, you can't stop them. And I feel like there's a couple of teams that are like that. It feels like Kansas City is a sleeping giant because they've been barely winning games and people are going to make fun of them. But, it's still the defending champions and they're winning all the games.
11-1 and haven't played their best game.
The thing is it can't be undersold. Oh, yeah, it took last second heroics, blah, 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 blah. And I was talking about this on Saturday's show where it's like, are we failing to give credit where credit is due? Because I know that they say Eberflus lost the game. Oh, it was mismanagement. And I agree with all of that. He mismanaged the end of the game. But what happened leading up to that? Like I said, the whole game can be chopped down to a bunch of dodge, parry, and then like 4 or 5 plays that are of all the hearts racing and everybody's got to be in the moment. 4 or 5 plays decided the game. And 2 of those plays were back to back. After a Kendall Vildor, a very bad call, by the way,
Terrible.
that they had to eat that. They had to eat that call, be there, and the next play, they forced a penalty on them for knocking off Lee McNeil's face mask. And that's just the result of pressure. That's Aleem McNeil creating that penalty. And then the play after that was the Zadarius Smith sack. Got him out of field goal range. 2 plays that they were up on right there. Now, that all happened before the confusion. Now, that created confusion. What down are we on? Are we still in field goal range? What do we do? And then you see Caleb being all confused. And then, I guess we're going to run a play. Should we call a timeout? I don't know. It might too much time. They better get to the line. All of that went through. All of that confusion was created by Aleem McNeil causing a penalty and Zadarius Smith getting a sack in the biggest part of the game. So when you tell me Eberflus lost the game, I say no. Zadarius Smith won the game.
I like that take. I do like that take. However, 26 seconds passed from the time the previous play ended to the time they snapped the ball for the next. 26 seconds, Russell. I mean, that is on the coach.
Happened?
That is on the coach. I don't care what the other circumstances were. That's totally on him. And you had a timeout in your pocket. That's the dumb part.
So play it out. After that, after those 2 great plays by the Lions, let's say they do get the timeout and they do get a chance to kick a 58-yard field goal, which, by the way, is 4 yards longer than his longest ever field goal. So what we're doing the hope and the prayer on here is that they would have called the timeout and had maybe another play to try to get it 4 yards closer, but they weren't getting the first down. He knocked them out of field goal range with the sack. So even if they would have gotten all of the stuff off, it was still a long shot for them to
it's a long shot, but you've got good receivers. You throw a 20-yard out, which is a hard pass to make, but Caleb Williams can make that throw. Throw a 20-yard out, get out of bounds, stop the clock, kick a field goal, tie the game. You had a timeout, Russ. There's no excuse for letting the clock run out.
I'm not saying that. The Eberflus got justifiably fired. If you're a Bear fan, you got what you wanted right there. He shit the bed, but there was a reason he shit the bed, because what happens? Yeah, I mean, you've been there before. Like, as soon as they turn the lights on for the gig and they're like, "Go out there," sometimes you feel that some people seize that moment, but some people get caught like a deer in headlights. And when he had a plan in his mind, right? I'm at the 25-yard line here. Okay, we're gonna run this play, and then we're gonna try for the touchdown. We're going for the win. And all of a sudden, boom, boom. Oh shit, I'm out of field goal range. What do I do? So all of a sudden, that bright light shined on Eberflus, and he got caught like a deer in headlights. He had that same look on his face. That was caused by the good defensive play that the Lions had. And
I also have to put some of it on Rome Odunze, because the throw by Caleb Williams wasn't that bad. He was late reacting. He was late getting his head around, and he didn't make much of an effort to try to catch the ball. Okay. So Caleb did the right thing in that situation. With only 6 seconds left, he's got no choice but to throw it to the end zone. And he threw it a couple yards shy of the end zone to hit the man in stride going in. And I don't think Odunze made much of an effort. And he definitely, the fundamentals, he didn't get his head around soon enough. And, you know, like Jeremy's saying here in the chat that Caleb changed the play. Maybe that has something to do with that. But regardless, it's on Eberflus. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. When you're the head coach, you get all the glory when it goes right, but you got to take the heat when it goes wrong, and that's what Eberflus did. And look, Eberflus is not a bad coach. When it comes to being defensive-minded coach, he's a really good defensive coach. He's going to land on his feet in this league. I promise you that, because he's well-respected. And, you know, the players actually liked him too.
Yeah, I have no problem with those, but this was the caption that I had with that. When I say big time players make big plays in the biggest moments, and when it comes down to the most important moments, and you never know what those moments are going to be. You look back in retrospect, it's real easy to be like, oh yeah, in the third quarter on that one play, they should have did this and they could have did that. And it's like, it doesn't work like that. What you're dealt with is the storyline, you know, and you're in it. You're playing in the ebb and flow of the game. And it was all brought to a moment, regardless of what happened before that play. Oh yeah, Caleb was slicing him up, and that doesn't matter. In the biggest moments, the Lions defense stood up. The Lions defense stood up and made the 2 biggest plays of the game. You know, and really on that whole the last couple drives right there, I think they got 3 out of 5 of their sacks in those moments. So that can't be understated. I think if we want to take away from what the Lions did, I mean, you get into that dangerous. That's dangerous. I won't even do that to the Packers. You know, the Packers, oh, they got lucky. It was a blocked field goal. No, they blocked the field goal. Do a better job kicking the field goal. It should be an easier play than that, right? Keep a guy from blocking it.
What did you say Cairo Santos' longest field goal was?
They said he was 58 yards was the yard line where they were at. So if they would have kicked it from there, 58, and they said that was 4 yards longer. So his longest was a 54-yarder.
Very steady, very reliable kicker, though. I don't know. Maybe you live and die with it. 58 these days, that's not that much. I mean, 50-yarders are routine now. And I mean, when Harrison Butker's in there, Andy Reid said, as long as I'm past the 50-yard line, I'm going to kick it if I have to. So, I mean,
they didn't have Buckner. They didn't have Buckner. They had Santos, and Santos has never kicked kicks like that before.
Okay. I mean, I like that better than the way it ended. I like missing that field goal to lose than the way it ended.
Really?
Yeah, because then maybe he doesn't get fired the next day.
I mean, that's all right. We cause a lot of teams to fire their coaches. That's all right.
2 years.
You know, the thing is like what Dan said was it's a very dangerous ground to go into where you start like over analyzing the victory and how it came in there. It's like you want to take the learning nuggets that you can learn from it. Oh, we could have did this, we could have did that, but you don't want to go in there and start dwelling on any of that stuff. Because honestly, Caleb Williams, oh yeah, he carved up your defense. It's like, well, he didn't in the first half. So if he will play a complete game, then maybe he'll be a great quarterback. But he didn't carve up anything in the first half. I think he had like 29 yards passing or something like that. It was the Lions shut him out.
Jeremy B., our South Side statistician, says Cairo Santos is 4 of 7 past 50 this year, Russ. So you're probably right on that. I mean, that's got to be why they didn't try it. I mean, 4 of 7, that's not very good past 50 yards. So within 50, he's money. But beyond that, they knew what they had, and that's why Eberflus didn't kick it. But I still stick by that. I'd rather lose that way.
Got bad clock management. We agree. He got justifiably fired for that, and it's worth to note that in the 100-year history of the Chicago Bears, that they have never fired a coach mid-season. So Eberflus was a special kind of suck.
Well, I tell you, we are blessed this morning, Russ. We have a famous author in the chats today. Seymour Butts is in the chat today. I remember reading his book in grade school. It's called Under the Bleachers. He says, in Detroit, I trust. Thanks for being on the show, Seymour.
And now, Deep Thoughts by Seymour
Under the
Butts.
Bleachers by Seymour Butts.
Oh, that's good stuff. But it's war week. It's war games. And over the next couple of weeks, it's just I put the Bears into this because the Bears should feel like that their team's on the brink, right? Would you feel that with like if you're a Bear fan and you're watching, I'm vicariously going through these last few games. They should have beat the Packers. I mean, they can make this case. They should have beat the Packers. They could have beat the Vikings, and they could have beaten the Lions.
100% could have beat the Commanders, but a Hail Mary.
Could beat the Commanders with a Hail Mary.
Those are all playoff teams you just mentioned. So absolutely. And if I'm a Bear fan, I feel really good about the future. And we told you at the beginning, Caleb Williams is the real deal. He's going to get this right. He's got the skill set. He seems to be an uber competitor, which was something that I wasn't sure about. Yeah, I mean, Ryan Poles is building something, but here we go again on this cycle, Russ. They fire the coach, right? And now they got to start all over. Now your young quarterback has to learn a new system. If it doesn't go right for a year or two, what are they going to do? Fire the next coach? And just keep this cycle going. You've got to have continuity. He's got the skill set to succeed. They've got some great pieces there. They are still a few pieces away from being a legit contender, but they can beat anyone with the team they've got right now. And I think they've shown that this year. They've been close in just about every game. I can't recall the Bears getting blown out this year.
No, that's defense.
Did Houston blow them out maybe 34-6 or something like that? But other than that, they've been playing everyone tough, only got 4 wins. Now, do they start tanking is the question. Is this draft class going to be strong enough to warrant tanking? From all the things I'm reading and seeing around the internet, that this is going to be a very weak draft class. Good time to be picking at the end like the Lions.
Well, if I'm the Bears, I feel like they're going to win whatever. I don't even know who they're playing this week.
The Bears?
The Bears.
The Bears have, I didn't write them down because they weren't relevant. I only wrote down the other 3.
Well, I mean, I'm just trying to put this into like if I'm trying to make the playoffs, right? So you got on our side, you got the Lions, Vikings, and the Packers and the Eagles. Those are teams that are out and they got their cart way ahead of everybody else in the pack. You know, I mean, you got a whole bunch of 6-6, 5-6, 4-7, and even 4-8 with these Bears. You have to think in the outside chance, you know, especially if they could win this game and go to, 5-8, that maybe you could win out and squeak one of those one of those because you already know you could beat the teams in the NFC North, right? That's 3 of the games.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There ain't no way that they're gonna. I mean, if they tank for a draft pick, shame on you for that. Because you
Chicago,
still
two of those 3 last games for Chicago against division opponents are on the road. So they're going to have to win 2 on the road. I like this comment by the Central Scrutinizer who says Bears will play the spoiler. Which NFC North team will be the victim is the real question, right? That is a great call out. They get Green Bay in their place on the last game of the year, and the other 2 they got to go to Detroit and Minnesota. So,
yeah, I mean, they're either gonna finish strong or they're gonna be a doormat. So, I mean, maybe they'll fall apart, and they'll find out that Eberflus wasn't that. Maybe it was something else that was in there. I don't know what the problem is with Chicago. All I know is it feels like Ryan Poles is drafting and bringing in good talent, and they didn't have the structure to develop that talent, and they regressed in a lot of ways, even though they got a better quarterback. If that makes any sense? It's like they regressed, and I mean, that wasn't the same defense that we played last year. Like last year, it felt like they were a lot more ferocious, and they played good defense against us, but the Lions got out and they scored touchdowns when they needed to score touchdowns, and then they were doing that keep away thing at the end and trying to keep them out. So I mean, this is a crazy war games type of division right here. The Vikings, that's a frightening schedule if I'm the Vikings.
Yeah, I love it, Russ. You and I called this out in May when the schedule came out, and we did our schedule breakdown show, one of my favorite shows of the year. And we looked at this particular stretch of the schedule saying, oh, man, somebody's going to be a spoiler down the stretch here with all these division teams, cannibalizing each other at the last 6 weeks of the season. And we just didn't know it was going to shake out the way it is, with Minnesota only having 2 losses and Green Bay only having 3 losses and the Lions only having 1 loss. It's shaking out the way we thought, just not with the records, and all 3 of these teams being legitimate. All 3 of these teams are legitimate contenders to be the number 1 seed in the NFC. And it's going to come down to these last 5 weeks. Man, what drama. These schedule makers know what they're doing, don't they?
Yeah, I keep on looking at it, and I'm just dropping my jaw looking at the fact is like, yeah, any one of those teams could be the number 1 seed or miss the playoffs. I mean, that's why I wanted to call this War Games, man. You put these guys into a cage at the end of the year, and I mean, the NFC North is about ready to cannibalize each other. There's about to be some losses that are going to go on these records. Not just us playing everybody. Everybody plays everybody. It's like nobody is happier to hear that. Like, if there's any Philadelphia Eagle fans that are out there right now, they're probably happy to hear that, because they're like, okay. Well, we might be able to sneak in and get that 1 seed if a couple of these NFC North teams can just beat the shit out of each other a little bit.
You've had enough of that shit.
I mean, that's so what do you think about that? Let me get some of these in here. I mean, Ben Johnson has been rumored. Like, I don't know. The more and more you talk, you brought this up a couple weeks ago. Like how enticing that Bears job would be if they would just give Ben Johnson the reins and let Ben Johnson run the whole thing. And they got a nice, smorgasbord of talent there, and they still have a bunch of draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
They'll probably have a top 10 pick if they do lose a lot of games. If Caleb didn't change the play That was 7 more seconds. Yeah. Yeah. I think Jeremy's in here trying to get, I mean, you got to be a little accountable to your rookie quarterback. I'm sorry that you put a rookie quarterback out there, but this is still professional football. So, I mean, Caleb also should take his own accountability on that. You can't take that. He had to know that. He had to know that he was taking too much time, Mike. Why the hell would you take a play that threw the ball all the way down the field and change the play like that and go for a touchdown right there? Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you roll out, chuck the ball out of bounds, and then kick the ball? Was that 4th down?
It was 3rd down.
It was
time ran out on 3rd down.
So he could have just ran out of the pocket, chucked the ball out of bounds, and at least give Santos a shot. Maybe it is his longest field goal ever, but it's Ford Field. There's no wind. I mean, I know Ford Field is loud, but it's not going to affect what way the ball's going.
Mm-hmm.
So give the guy a shot. No, Caleb is a diva that has to have the spotlight right there. He changed it to a bomb. Think about that. He does need accountability for that. Thanks for bringing that up. Jeremy.
Mm-hmm. Great. Another great comment here by Jeremy says, I want to say Caleb's the first QB to throw multiple TDs against the Lions. So that's a good call. We hadn't given up a touchdown in 12 quarters. 12 quarters, folks. And then Caleb hits one in the third quarter, comes up with multiple touchdowns. So definitely they got something brewing there in Chicago, just not this year. No way. However, it was 3rd down, and I still stand by it. Hell, you could have run a swing pass. You could have run a pitch to DeAndre Swift, who gets out of bounds, and maybe he gets you 3 more yards or 4 more yards. That could have been the difference in making that field goal. Poor clock management. I'm not putting it on anybody but he was loose.
Yeah, you could have ran the ball up the gut. Yeah, I mean, some way, either way, you could have called a timeout. Wouldn't have mattered. Like anywhere on the field, you could have dropped back and had 4 button hooks and throw to a dude right in the middle of the field, get a quick 5 yards and get it to 53 yards within Santos's range.
And you still have a timeout in your pocket. Absolutely. Even if the guy doesn't get out of bounds, you could get a few extra yards and call timeout. You should have been in hurry up immediately. If you're not going to call the timeout, you should have been in hurry up. That's your only 2 options with that.
They were watching Zadarius Smith do the little crawl eating thing.
And what a signing by Brad Holmes that's turning out to be.
Oh man. Steve's talking about draft. Hey, Steve, your team's actually good, so you don't need to talk about draft yet. I want Benjamin Morris and Notre Dame with our first pick. No, you don't need to give up yet, Steve. No, this is a big game. This is a big week for me, Steve, and you. We're gonna have bragging rights. This is like 10-day bragging rights. This is a little extra special. But beyond the game, Mike, this team needs to get healthy. And having this 10 days, I've been marking this. I've been talking about this for the last couple of weeks on here, where it's like 3 games in 14 days. It's really hard on the NFL bodies, the way that they play and everything. And they're 2-0. They're 2-0 in that stretch. They got this 3rd game here at home with the Packers, and then they get 10 days off. That I feel like we're going to get a couple people back, and that's going to be a healing time to go into the last 4 games of the season.
Good. You're going to need it because Josh Allen's coming to town the following week, folks.
You
didn't watch the game last night. This dude's the real deal, has been for a while now. And getting rid of Stephon Diggs, probably the best thing that ever happened to that team. Now there's nobody giving you the side eye when you decide to throw it to someone else. There's no one giving crappy comments on the podium after the game. It's all full speed ahead. Guess what? They beat a really good San Francisco team who had Christian McCaffrey, who had Deebo Samuel, who had Brock Purdy. Okay, they beat a really good. defending NFC champion team, and truck sticked them. Wasn't even close. They came out from the first quarter and just buried them in the snow. So that's who's coming to town after the Packers. So that 10 days, we're going to need it.
Yeah, but we love it though. The thing is, like, I know that's scary. It's scary to me too. I mean, really, the last games all on the schedule. I'm scared of the Bears the second time around because that can't sit well with them, you know. And even the Lions would feel like, okay, man, we got away by the skin of our teeth. So even that game where everyone's going to be like, oh yeah, it's just the Bears. It's like, no, it's the Bears. And the Bears are looking to play spoiler for the rest of the season. And then the Bills, gosh, but Dan, he'd get up on the podium and say, hey, this is why we play. This is these games. Like they're looking forward to this. This is what you want. He was happy that Minnesota won their game. It's like, no, we don't want them to lose and be out of contention. I want to beat you. I want to beat you. I want to take your hopes and your dreams away from you. It's going to be us. We want you guys to be tough. We want you guys. And me, I'm like, no, lose. Come on, Vikings, lose. Come on, Packers, lose. And Dan's like, they don't care. They don't care. They want to play these guys at their best.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I got to jump off, Russ. Have a great day. And villains, have a great day. Hopefully, I'll see everyone tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time for the Main Event Football Show. Peace out.
Well, there you go. Main Event Mike has came and he is gone, but he will be back tonight at 7 p.m. for the Main Event Football Show. Doing that thing. But this is an interesting conversation right here because I love it this way. You know, I do like trash talking. And I like that part of it, you know, but when it comes to appreciating like a really good moment in football time and you're part of that. I mean, I'm sure there's been other stuff that's like this, maybe in other divisions or whatever, but the Lions haven't been a part of a lot of stuff like this. And this is the best division in football. And as much as I want to say, hey, yeah, Packers suck, we're going to kick your ass. And it's like, I don't feel that way. I feel like we can beat the Packers. I feel like we have beaten the Packers. I feel like we're a better team than the Packers and the Vikings. But they're really good. And they're very capable of beating us. So I'm not going to get on my high horse and pretend like this isn't going to be a battle. But good morning to everybody. This is the Lion Villain Report. Wargames. Acknowledge the villain on Facebook or YouTube. You can join me Monday through Saturday at 10 a.m. And we're brought to you by NFL Shop. You can go into the comments, right? It's actually Cyber Monday. And that link we have in the comments and the ones that we put out on our page for today, for sure, today you get 50% off of your order. So you're welcome. What's up, Harpozo? They were hoping for a flag. Bad coaching. They didn't practice it enough. Thursday's game was huge for both the Lions and the Packers. Yes. Are you under the bleachers, Seymour? Oh, guys, I'm trying to get back in. Here we go. We got away from running the ball again. Run it until it doesn't work. Nah, I don't know. The Bears, they were stopping our run, but we were trying to balance it out. You know, you just got good defense. You're playing one of those teams that is just a grimy game, you know, Chicago's got one of those defenses. You just got to win a grimy game. Jonathan's up in the house. One pride and go blue. Not really. Monty ran for 50 yards in the second half. Yeah, I thought that they were running pretty good. But they were able to make some stops on us on the run. Russ saying that now until the playoffs. I don't know what that means. What's good? Omar's in the house. I'm trying to see what you were talking about right there. Have a good day, Mike. You mean Gibbs? Gibbs was. They were both running well. Both of them were running really well. Trash talk is okay, but we don't need the trash talk right now because all of the teams are good. Chicago's even good. Chicago just played all 3 NFC North teams and lost, and he probably should have beaten all 3 of them. Or definitely could have beaten. But like I say, you got to be good in those big moments. NFC North is not a good place for nervous folks. We will beat the Packers. I love it. See more butts. I'm glad the Bills won, but I want the best version of them in Detroit. He ain't scared. Lions will be ready Thursday. The division is on the line. Well, the Lions have a chance here. The Lions have a chance to, push the game out, push the lead out anytime you can get, like you said, it's like 1.5 games. That's what the division games are. So this is so big. It's so big. We'll have to see if the Lions can pull it off. I mean, the Packers are in danger right here. The Packers are in danger. They've got a pretty good record. They've beaten some other teams. But the Packers and the Vikings haven't done well against the Lions underneath Dan Campbell. And the Packers are in danger of getting swept. Anytime you're in danger of getting swept, you might play a little bit dangerous. We could send these guys into a tailspin. So, brutal schedules for all 4 of these teams. But I want to, like I promised, I know I waited a little bit till the end, but I wanted to get back into the Dan Campbell presser. I know it was from yesterday, but I love listening and reacting to what he had said. So here's Dan Campbell.
The end. I mean, maybe we'll put him at the end. Yeah. Options now, which is great, and we're going to play the best players. Whoever can help us is going.
Linebacker or safety, or how you envision?
Yeah, it could be D end. I mean, maybe we'll put him at D end. Yeah.
When the calendar flips to December, do you feel like a tangible shift in urgency, or just
No, I think I don't know. I think always for me, you're always your head's down, and you're going. And players are no different, man. You worry about what's right in front of you, and you just, and you start going. And I think once you hit December, it's hard not to begin to look up a little bit. And I mean that in a good way. Like, you can start to smell the playoffs a little bit. You can start to see what's out in front of you, what's at stake. You're well within the race. And I think it just gives you a little bit of, I don't know, man, excitement. It's exciting. And it's competitive. And it's just, I mean, this is why you're in this business. Like I know Minnesota just won. Like it's awesome. You know, I mean, the race is on, and it's good, man. This is top tier stuff, and it's for the best of the best. And you know, this thing's going to go down to the wire, and we just got to worry about winning the one in front of us.
A lot of people were alarmed when they saw and learned about the photo being released online, maybe being.
No comment.
I know, but in terms of just competitive balance, do changes get made or?
No comment.
Okay.
You got 3 games. This is a short span of your season. You think the league should be giving bye weeks later to you guys when you have this short span of games? Because you had the early bye, and then you got these 3 and 18 or whatever the days are, and then you know you don't have that rest in there.
Yeah, the league will never call and ask me what I think we should do or shouldn't do. So look, they get the schedule, they line it up. This is when we got to play, and it's our job to get ready and play. So, you know, I would tell you from a player standpoint, it's always better to be able to get a little rest. You know, when you got a lot of games back to back to back, but that's it's neither here nor there. You know, that's not how it is. So we'll be ready to play.
Competition committee?
No. Nope.
Why not?
All good.
And we've talked about the attrition on defense, you know, who cares, next man up, we get that. But when you're have so many moving parts, you know, what is the procedure, I guess, for the playbook? Does it have to be condensed a little bit just because some of the chemistry maybe is not there that was forged through an off-season program camp the first 10 weeks or whatnot?
Well, I think, you know, a couple of things is, you know, one, terminology, you know, how fast can they get this? You know, 2, whatever that is, being able to know, man, they can just line up and play fast. You know, you take the thinking off the table. Okay, well, what if we get this, and that? Man, how, you know, how can we make it so to where these guys, they're going to know exactly where to go, where to get lined up, and they can just cut it loose. And I think that's step number 1. And, you know, the other part, we don't entirely know. We have an idea what some of these guys can do, but yet we don't, you know. It's because they just got here and just walked in the building. And so, you know, you're kind of trying to work through that within a couple of days too. You know, where can we use them? But, you know, so I think you use the best judgment you can over what you know of the players, what you've seen most recently, where we're at, where we could use some help. And, you know, and you let them go play. You let them play fast. And that's what we're going to do. Like the plan is, it's going to be a good plan. And AG's got it locked in. And, you know, I think these guys they'll go cut it loose.
One guy we didn't ask about yesterday was Taylor Decker. How's he progressing ahead of this game?
Better and better. You know, I still think he's day to day. I think it'll come down to the wire with him, whether he can go or not this week. He's certainly better.
I do want to ask, just with the sheer number of injuries that have taken place, especially on the defensive side of the ball, is that something that's being looked at right now with the medical team, or something that maybe is going to get postponed until after the season? Because it seems like it's a lot.
We look at everything every year. I mean, you know, this time last year we're one of the healthiest teams, and really we've done the same thing. If anything, you know, I was talking the other day. I'm like, well, maybe we need to go harder on some stuff. You know, that was actually a joke. But so yeah, we look at everything, and it's. You know, we'll be able to deep dive this in the off season, but it's the same thing we did last year. And some of these have just kind of been one of those, like chalk it up to, you know, that's a freak deal. You know, that's kind of an odd thing that happened and how it happened. And, you know, there's no rhyme or reason, and this happens. I mean, it just does. As long as I've been in this league as a player, as a coach, and some years are great. It works out great. And some years it's like this, you know, and, you know, you overcome it.
You look at, as you brought up Jacobs, but Jacobs and Gibbs are 2 of the top 4 rushers in the league this year. And you look at so many of the top rushers this season, their teams are doing extremely well. Is there any correlation between that now in the NFL of having a solid quality run game being the foundation of creating a team that can put up some wins?
Look, I'll always believe that a run game is where it all starts. Offensive line, run game, because I think it sets a tone for your offense, for your team, and it alleviates pressure off of the pass game, the quarterback. It allows them to be able to flow, and it alleviates pressure off the O-line too. And so I'm always going to say, yeah, I think there is a direct correlation, and I think a good back makes a difference. We have two of them, so but to each his own.
Yeah. That's head coach Dan Campbell. That was from yesterday. And with that, we're getting it ready. I think that the Lions have a great draft and develop system. But which team in the North is set up best for the future? Because I know that we got a race right here. This is a race. The Lions may be a game ahead, but I mean that schedule is unbelievable for the Lions. Got guys that are trying to get back in, and I'm sure Brock Purdy is going to be ready by that San Francisco game where we're going to go out to the West Coast. So which team is set up better for the future? Bears, rookie quarterback. I'm sure Caleb is going to have all kinds of hype, and they're going to expect a huge jump from him week 2 or year 2. The Packers and Jordan Love, they were able to win games this year with Malik Willis. They're looking good for the future. The Minnesota Vikings. Well, you got J.J. McCarthy on tap. He's developing. I'm sure that he's taking in the game from taking mental reps, getting himself ready. But Sam Darnold has them right where they need to be, so they're looking pretty good. And the Lions, I go over it all the time. With the salary cap, we have a fluid salary cap. We look great for the next few years. With continuity, you don't even have to change the team all that much. So they're building the team long term, but he's building the team short term too. But one thing that we know is that they can draft and develop players. And that's the part that gives me the most, the best feel. Because when Brad Holmes goes out and gets a guy, they're looking for a specific type of guy that could have success in what we do. And because we can draft and develop, if these guys have the right mentality when they come in here, then they can make an impact on the team. That's why I feel good that he can get the most out of Jamal Adams with one extra A. I already know I misspelled it. I was making graphics fast today. And then Miles Adams. He's a guy that had a tackle for loss in that first game. He showed out. Probably should have been credited with a half a sack. And then Quan Alexander and Jonah Williams. I mean, I don't know a lot about these players. Jeremy threw some tidbits, Smoking Jeremy B, into the comments about Jonah Williams. But one thing I know for sure is that when Brad Holmes brings a guy in, he's going to have a chance to compete. He's going to have a chance to learn the defense and play, because we use all the players. We have a deep team. And Brad Holmes has been able to make lemonade out of lemons. Jay Smooth says, yeah, it's a toss-up for the North. I mean, I would love to sit here and talk smack and just say, hey, we're going to steamroll the Packers. It's over for everybody. The Lions are killing everybody. And it's like, I mean, the Lions are in a dogfight. The Lions have a great team. But the Packers have a great team too. And so do the Vikings. And we can't deny it anymore, right? 11-1. 10-2, 9-3. They're right there. And the rest of the NFC. Packers are 9-3. They would be leading any other division that's not the Eagles division. They'd be leading the other two divisions. So would the Vikings. At 2, they'd be right there. So I don't know. I'm not talking about any gimme wins. I'm going to give credit where credit is due. And really, you're hoping to get players back. Every team's going through injuries. The Lions have been going through some injuries. But we're going to get some players back too. That'd be awesome if we could get John Kaminsky back sometime soon. I think we're going to get Broderick Martin back here sometime soon. So it's like you gotta rev up now. Now it's time to rev up. The rev up teams. Who can keep it going here in December? December's different. We got through the Thanksgiving. Got through Thanksgiving, but this is December football now. How are we December football? What's crazy is that a 13-win team could have to go on the road in the playoffs. Yeah, could you imagine the Lions have to go down to Tampa Bay to play Baker Mayfield? And the 9-8 Tampa Bay Buccaneers? That's a good point. That's kind of a scary thing. That's the thing. That's why I don't want to talk too much crap. Because talk too much crap about the Packers. You got the Bears and the Vikings coming in, every other week. And then you got to play the Bills. When they say one game at a time, it's frightening to think about the end of that schedule. I mean, are you kidding me? Now, I don't know what type of situation the Bears are going to be in by the time that we play them, but I'm pretty sure they're not going to be too happy. So I'm not even, it's like, that's brutal. Look at that schedule. We have the best teams in the NFC North. We have the best teams. So those are going to be the toughest games. And none tougher than one that we got going on this week, Thursday Night Football. The Green Bay Packers. 11-1. 9-3. It's for all the marbles, really, when you're thinking about it. Those are brutal end of the year schedules. The Packers are a full game behind of all the fun, and they have one gimme game, but you're talking about the other 4 games. Really, you're going to call the New Orleans Saints a gimme game? I don't know. These are pretty brutal schedules at the end of the season. you're going to want to rest your guys on the last week of the season, and the Bears are going to be coming to town. Or are they coming to town? Or you got to go there? I don't know. Oh, you've been watching the Lion Villain Report. You can join me every Monday through Saturday at 10 a.m. Tomorrow morning, we're going to have some different topics. I'm not going to do PFF. Maybe I'll go through some PFF that's more of the whole season up until now and look at these NFC North teams. Maybe that's what I'll do, PFF style. But broadcasting live into the Lions Villain Squad Facebook page right there. Go over and hit the follow button. We're approaching 60,000. I want to make a new graphic. So when we get to 60,000, I'm going to make a new graphics. Why have billions when you can have thousands? We are the undrafted free agents of sports podcasting with the Lion Villain Report and the Main Event Football Show. You can help. We love our live audience. Our live audience is great. And for everybody that's watching on the replay, like this video, share this video, comment on this video, join the conversation, because you can help like that. That's helping. Just hitting the like button. It's free. Thank you to Joe Chap. Thank you to Detroit Lions News Podcast and the JC Sports Network on YouTube. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel at Lions Villain Squad. You can go into the comments with the Lion Villain Squad promo code from the NFL shop. Save 50% on your jersey. Cyber Monday. It's a deal. You're welcome. If you want to partner with the Villain Squad, you want to be guilty by association, call Main Event Mike at 810-620-2167 and find out how your business can benefit from the power of the villain. It's faith, family, then football. In that order. We use football to spend time with our family and make memories. We don't let football use us. That's going to be the end of the broadcast for today. Thank you, everybody, for popping by. And may the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord shine his face upon you until we meet again. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you so much for watching the program. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Oh, no, wait. I'll talk to you guys tonight for the Main Event Football Show. God bless. Peace out.
Hey yo, the lies so that you never make it. Hopeless, so it seems. Eyes closed, hands open wide to embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win. Like lots of sin was popping in like oxygen when boxes wet. Focus on the mental, never lose like a smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pencil. Choose when I get to, never lose smooth on the move, but it's simple. Never give up and we running it maybe. We just keep winning, we conquering daily. Envision that pay me, it's never to sway me. Indigenous, maybe we winning this crazy. Your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, this your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, this your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, this your opportunity.